Hey guys, it's Marcus here. I recently had COVID. I did the 7-day isolation. I wanted to give you a lot of tips and tricks to get through the isolation, what to expect in terms of symptoms. I hope this helps. I went to a party. My cousin was there who was positive, and most likely I caught COVID from him. We were mainly sitting outside. Also, a few others on the day got it. Day one, the next day, I had a slight dry throat at nighttime. The next day, then also my muscles started to ache a bit. It was getting a bit sore around the arms and the legs. I thought it might have just been from exercising a bit, but yeah, I think it was actually COVID. Um, Day three, I found out that my cousin was positive. So then I got tested with the PCR. My throat was starting to get a bit sore, so I wore a scarf, which I find helped. Muscle aches continued. Day four, I got the positive result. And my girlfriend and family, luckily, they were negative. I didn't spend that much time with them during those days, but my girlfriend, she had the booster, which might have helped. And maybe I wasn't as infectious during those first few days. At night, on day four, I started to get a fever. I was getting more fatigued, and my nose started to run like crazy. It was like a tap just like pouring out like clear like fluid, and I had tissues everywhere. Then day five was similar symptoms, still the fever, nose running a lot, glands were getting sore around my neck and a bit swollen as well. Then day six, day seven, it was like lessening, maybe just a bit of a dry throat. And then from day 7 to 10, then I've still been careful. I've been trying to wear a mask whenever I'm around other people, just in case, because I have heard stories where someone gets out of isolation day seven and then they give it to the rest of the family. So I don't want that. So you've got to be careful. I've also done rapid tests. So on day 7 in the morning, I did a rapid test. It had a very faint line. And then on day 9, I did another rapid test and it was negative. I couldn't see any faint line. We've gone through the symptoms part of COVID. Now I'm going to go through the isolation part. The isolation part for me was much more difficult than the symptoms, and I developed some routines. I found these routines really help me, and I hope they benefit you too. I think it's a very individual thing, and I think it's good to be aware of your environment and how that affects you, and then also create an environment which will benefit you. For me, I was watching a lot of news on COVID, and I'd watch it longer and longer and longer, and then I'd get more and more stressed. I'd feel more uncertainty, less control, more blaming of governments and things, and I'd have less energy. When I was more stressed and sort of in a negative headspace, then I would be more likely to not exercise as much, not eat as much healthy things, more unhealthy things. I'd also spend much longer looking at social media, Instagram or Facebook, like browsing, and I'd be slouching, I'd be staring at the computer a lot, my eyes would get sore, my back would get sore from sitting all the time. And it wasn't really a good environment to put myself into. And so what I found really benefited was having a window where I can look at the updates and keep updated. So I'd look at the news from 12 to 12:30, just before lunch. And then I found I could be updated with all the information, but it wouldn't like negatively impact on me. So that was really good. Also, another thing is I did feel like quite a lot of negative thoughts about isolation, like being trapped, not being able to do things. And that was like a negative feedback loop, which caused more problems as well. So to counteract these things, then my routine was to wake up, to have a glass of water with vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, echinacea garlic, omega-3. So vitamin C and D have been shown to really benefit the immune system with COVID. So they're really good. Also, if you've seen, there's videos by Medcram on YouTube, and they do a lot of information on some of the effects of things you can do at home and supplements. And another thing which they have touched on is the effect of hydrotherapy, where you can have a hot shower and then a cold shower, and then that could potentially improve the immune system. So I would do a few minutes hot shower and then full cold for a minute, but it can take a while to get used to that. So you don't have to go full cold straight away. And another thing I would do is meditation. While doing meditation, I'd often stretch as well. So then that would help to counteract the sitting for a lot of the day. And I could stretch out the hip flexor and lower back and other areas and shoulders. The meditation, when I started, I did about 1 minute, and then now I can do 20 minutes. Meditation is good because you can focus on your breathing or like your body, and then you can have more awareness of how you're feeling, of how your body's feeling. And having that awareness of how you are means that you can better decide which direction you want to go. And yeah, I find it a really beneficial thing. Another thing which I did was journaling and fear journaling. So, for example, I might have a fear that I'll be trapped and that I'm going to be like undergoing a crisis. And so I'd ask questions about the fear. So the first question would be like, what's the worst that could happen with being trapped and in isolation? The worst thing that could happen is that I probably could have a bit of a breakdown. I could develop anxiety, depression, and that would be like quite severe. And then the next question is, what can you do to repair that? To repair that, then I would look at trying to develop healthy habits, trying to be aware of how I'm feeling, and try and counteract those like negative habits with that self-awareness. So the next question is, what happens if you don't do anything? If I don't do anything, then I'd probably like keep watching negative news and create like bad habits and keep thinking about how I'm trapped and all these problems. So definitely it was up to me to do something about it. So what I did was I did visualizations and many other things which helped to get through that and prevent that feeling of being trapped and leading to anxiety and depression. So one thing which I really enjoyed doing was visualizing your holiday or some place which you really enjoy. My place was, I went on a really nice holiday to Noosa once in Queensland, tropical beach. You try and visualize 5 things. So I'd visualize, and I'd close my eyes, I'd visualize the water, which is clear, and the sun is reflecting off it, and you can see the sparkling of the water. You can see the white sand, the tropical rainforest, a koala in the tree, and then 4 things that you can feel. You can do more things, but 4 to start. So I can feel like the sand as it's squeaking as I'm walking towards the water. I can feel the cold, refreshing water as it touches my toes, and I can feel the water moving against my legs. I can feel like the cool breeze. I can feel the warmth of the sun on my skin, and then I can smell 3 things. I can smell the tropical sort of rainforesty smell where it's quite damp and wet. I can also smell the fresh, like salty sea wind, ocean breeze, and then I can hear the waves like crashing against the shore. I can hear the waves like, and I can hear the wind blowing the tropical trees and the branches and the leaves like making a noise as the wind goes through. And I can taste the saltiness of the sea spray. So after doing visualizations like this, the more detailed, the more powerful, then there were moments when I actually felt like I was on a holiday, and I felt like much more relaxed, and I felt like pretty happy. So yeah, that was really cool. Definitely give it a crack. Another thing which I found really beneficial is to think about 10 things you're grateful for. When you think about things you're grateful for, then it makes you more motivated to do things, to have more things you're grateful for in the future. So, for example, yeah, I'm grateful for my health and exercise, grateful for my friends and my family, and my partner, and you can go into more detail of those. And then it makes you feel more motivated to do more positive things during the day. Another thing is the visualization of your future goals. So, for example, if I was like very lazy and I wasn't exercising much, then if I hadn't exercised much in the past, I really felt that because I haven't exercised much in the past and I'm not able to exercise in the future, it's not something which I can maintain, then that would be a self-limiting belief that's holding me back. So to counteract that, then I would need to visualize myself doing like tennis or being really active, doing a lot of exercise. And I'd also say words that I can exercise and I will, and I am an active person. And having that identity motivation is very powerful. You can counteract those self-limiting beliefs that saying I can't exercise because I've never exercised in the past. And you can, it's almost like a table, and then you're changing the legs on the table to support that belief that you're active and that you exercise and it's easy for you to exercise, rather than having that table where you're lazy and in the past I've been lazy. You need to like try and get more of those positive legs on and try and be more active over time. After doing this routinely over many days or months, then it will have an exponential effect where you will develop all these really good, you can develop a lot of good habits. So after doing these visualizations, I felt much happier, more relaxed, and more confident. And also, yeah, having this time for meditation, it can make you um, really have a lot of direction and make you reflect on what's important in your life. So that was really good. During the day, I'd do work on the computer or study. I'd also do some reading. Reading is a really good way to be able to travel wherever you like. I was reading about Obama and I really enjoyed his book. I felt like I was on the campaign trail with him when he was getting into office. And yeah, I really felt I was alongside him. There were a lot of really exciting moments and really enjoyed that book. I also really enjoyed Jay Shetty, Think Like a Monk, because a monk is similar in many ways. They have a lot of time where they're meditating, where they're isolated, and they develop really good self-awareness. And that book can really give you a lot of growth when you are by yourself, when you don't have as many distractions, and it can, yeah, be really impactful. So I do recommend that book if you like. So then next, during the day, I'd try and work in 25-minute blocks. So then I could look after the health of my eyes and my back, because if you are sitting too long, then even more than 20 minutes, then or 25 minutes, then your eyes and your back can get sore. I'd have a 5-minute break after the 25-minute sessions. And during the day, then I'd plan the work, and I'd also do some things during the day to have a bit of fun and socialization. So I'd call people. I did yoga on Zoom with my girlfriend, and then that was really fun. We did yoga by Tim. With the yoga, it felt like we were doing it in the same room, and it was a really good way to stretch for the body and for the mind. Yeah, it was not too like strenuous. So even though I had like a bit of COVID, I was like a bit sick, then most days I was like pretty fine to do yoga. Sometimes I did some weights if I was feeling up to it. I was a bit skeptical and I wasn't really too keen on doing excessive cardio because when you're like pretty sick, then excessive cardio isn't recommended. Um, yeah, so it's really about just judging how you're feeling, going from there. Another thing is at meals, I tried to eat the meals away from the computer. So then I could be more mindful, more aware of how I'm feeling. Yeah. And in terms of social media, I tried to have like times when I could go on social media. So I do have an app on the phone, which means that I can only use social media for 30 minutes each day from 7:30 to 8 p.m. Yep. And that means that I can get the most out of it without it taking over and like taking over my day. And so I've got a lot more time to be productive. Just before nighttime, then I tried to have the computer on night mode, or I do have orange glasses as well. And then that way you can reduce the blue light so you'll have better quality sleep and you can sleep a bit earlier. And sleep is something which is really important for getting through viruses for the immune system too. Um, and I'd read a book before bed. I'd also do a hot shower before bed for a few minutes, really hot, and then just like 20 seconds cold. And then in a cool room, 18 degrees Celsius helps to allow better quality sleep. If you're sleeping before midnight, so for every hour that you sleep before midnight, it's worth 2 hours of the quality sleep. So I tried to get into bed by 10 and then get that extra super sleep from 10 p.m. to midnight, as well as sleeping during the night. I think that isolation and COVID, it's like a very individual thing. You might have had different symptoms, but I hope that by me like sharing my symptoms and the tips which I benefited me, then I hope something will benefit you. And yeah, leave a comment if you've got any questions, and all the best. And yeah, I hope that your lockdown isolation, whether it be 7 days or 14 days, it can be like a meditation retreat and that you'll feel like really refreshed, rejuvenated, relaxed, and positive, motivated. Yeah, I feel like my isolation was a positive thing. And it is hard, but I think when you have like a lot of routines and techniques, then you can make it a positive thing. So, all the best.